Welcome to Our Scars Speak. My name is Christina Miner. I am the host of this podcast. And before we begin, I'd like to give a disclaimer that we are not providing any type of medical treatment plan for you or telling you what you need to do for your treatment plan. We encourage you to utilize your professionals that you have that are working with you. You are merely here listening for entertainment purposes and for just hearing our story. So you listen at your own discretion, okay? So tonight we have LeTasha Robinson-Coleman, correct?
Yes,
All
yes.
right. And I know you have some titles, but I'm gonna let you share all of that information. But she is a sister by way of Christ and also by way of Here for the Girls. And yes, she's in the calendar. She's going to talk about all that good stuff, but I wanted you all to know that she's definitely one. We call each other boobers and is Here for the Girls. I met her, I think it was at the last year's gala. I think I met
Yes, it was.
you
Hmm.
all were honored, and she looked beautiful. And if you looked at her reel, you seen where she was dressed up and had on her sash and everything. So I just wanted her to come up here because I think everybody knows how much I love Here for the Girls, but I also love the bond that we have as women in this
Yes.
organization, especially being under the age of 51, having had breast cancer or have breast cancer. And we
Yes.
just have a really good bond. So anytime any of my girls want to come up here, they're more than welcome. So thank you so much. And thank you for bearing with me with the technical difficulty we just had with Riverside. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that studio, but good old faithful Zoom is here. So, so
Hey, it works.
yep. So I just want you to share with everyone, who is LeTasha?
LaTasha is a survivor, a sister, a friend, um, a overcomer. But more than important, she's a woman that loves God, loves Jesus, and learning through trials and tribulation to continue to press forward, regardless of what's going on.
Wow. Okay, that was a very nice description of yours. Very nice description. Yeah, so LaTasha, I know, a lot of people know when they come on, and I always ask you all, like, I need for you to not just share about when you found out, but who were you before breast cancer and what did life look like for you? Like, what was going on at that time period, and just how was life before breast cancer?
Before breast cancer, life was kind of mellow. I can honestly say that I didn't feel like I was living my life to the fullest.
Mm.
So when in 2020, I had made these not 2020, 2019. I made this big plan. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna, go on my first cruise because I had this passport that was
Uh-huh.
about to expire that I had not gotten any stamps in. And I'm like, I'm gonna go on my first cruise, I'm gonna do this and do that. And so I had started making these plans. And so then COVID hit.
Mm.
I worked at a hospital system at the time, and we was on call. We didn't get any days off. We had to go into work in the midst of all that. So, um, you know, cancer happened in the midst of me, um, thinking I'm about to start living. I'm about to go on this first cruise, and then cruiser said, "Nope, you ain't coming on us with whatever this is. We don't know what it is, but we shutting down cruise time." So I didn't go on my cruise, and then next thing I know, here comes cancer. Um, Cancer came on my first day off. I had just took this day off, and it was Juneteenth.
Mm-hmm.
And I had took the day off. I was like, I'm going, because a lot of the stuff that was going on with the culture, I just wanted to go to some Juneteenth events. And
Okay.
so I took that day off, and I'm going to my Juneteenth event. But when I woke up, life changed.
Mm.
And I woke up to blood on my shirt. I had, on my night shirt, I had blood. And so I was like, why? I got blood on my shirt. So, at that time I was single. I don't know about nobody else when they were single, but I'm gonna talk about me. The other side of my bed is kind of like a plethora, like was a plethora, a lot of stuff, I had some scissors, a notebook, a laptop, had all kind of stuff, on that other side of the bed, So, I'm going through the bed, like, do I have some scissors or something that cut me? I'm saying, no, ain't nothing on here that can cut me. So then I'm going in and I'm, looking at my shirt in the mirror. And I was like, so I'm doing the measure. I was like, oh, look, that comes from my breast. And so when I put pressure on my breast, it started oozing blood.
Oh.
And so I'm sitting up here like, yeah, that ain't supposed to happen.
Right.
So I'm sitting up there, I'm 39. I was like, I'm like, I don't know what's happened. So, I called my friend and we have a joke. Cause as you get older, I can only talk about me. As I got older, my body started doing some stuff. So we have a little joke going on, like we like, things that your body happens when you turn 40, about to turn 40. And so I called, I said, hey, girls. She's like, what? I said, girl, I got something else to add to our list. She said, girl, what you done? What happened now? I said, and she said, I said, my breast leaking, but that ain't supposed to happen.
Not at all.
And I was like, yeah, but I'm not in any pain, and I'm trying to lighten it. And she was like, so when you going to the doctor? I said, who's going to the doctor? I'm not in any pain. Nothing is going on. And she was like, either you, because we go to the same church, right? And my pastors, their last name is White. So when you're in trouble, we say, oh, you go to the White House, like little joke.
Right.
And so she's like, either you go ahead and call the doctor, or you tell Mother White and go to the White House,
get in trouble,
and tell her why you're not going to the doctor. She's like, I'm gonna hang up with you, and by the time I get to my job, you better have had called your doctor.
Wow.
So I was like, ain't nobody scared of.
So you didn't have you had no, because I seen the picture in the reel of the blood on the shirt, and I was like, okay, that must have been one of her symptoms, because it's about 12 of them, and there still seems like coming every day, more and more people are coming out with different things. But
yes,
I seen that picture and I was like, okay, that had to have been a sign. And you said, what year was this again?
This is 2020. This was Juneteenth 2020.
And wow, a day you'll never forget, probably for multiple.
No.
And so that's all that happened. No history in your family with cancer?
Well, I grew up in foster care. So I know my maternal side. I don't know my paternal side. So I don't know if breast cancer runs on that side, but on my maternal side, it does not. So it was no, like, they did do the genetic testing, and that came back negative. So they're still trying to figure out how it manifests. But I am a rare occurrence. They call, I got diagnosed with DCIS, which is ductile carcinoma in the STICU, which is basically stating that cancer started developing in my milk ducts. And so with that, it's no pain. And that's why I tell people, I said, cancer is so tricky because it's no pain. A lot of times you don't know until something is going on that is a indirect correlation to what's going on with your body. It could, like I said, sometimes breast cancer, you don't know till you press it. Oh, I got a lump right there. Or, I had blood coming out. So it's sometimes, a lot of times, you don't know, because unless it's something indirectly affecting that causes you or your doctor to kind of dig a little deeper. Yeah. And so with me, when I called my friend, of course, like I said, I was trying to, not go. I really didn't want to go to the doctor because I wanted to be selfish, because it was my first day off. And so I was like, I really just want to be off. I don't want to go to no doctor. I was like, well, I can do this on Monday, but today is my day. And so, yeah. So what I did, I inbox. I had my chart, and I emailed my doctor, and it's like, hey, blood coming out, da, da, da. And so like they probably ain't gonna answer it till Monday. So I'm like, I'm good. So when my friend called back, I sent them a message. She said, "You made me sick," and she hung up on me. She hung up on me, and but I'm thinking like, yeah, I'm good. Not even an hour later, my doctor's office calling, hey, we need to get you downtown for a diagnostic. I'm like, hold up, I ain't 40 yet. My insurance ain't gonna pay for that. Well, that's a regular mammogram. This is a diagnostic to see if anything is going on. And so I was like, whatever. Like, they probably gonna get no opening, so I can do this on Monday. They're like, we gonna get you in today. So long story short, they got me in. I get down there, they do the mammogram. They was like, "Oh, keep your shirt off," I was like, keep my shirt off. They're like, "Yeah, just keeping that." So they're like, "Okay, we need to do an ultrasound." So I've been in the medical field for over 20 years. I done been in different phases of the medical field, from medical records to billing, etc. So I'm sitting up there. She's doing the mammogram, and I mean not the mammogram, the ultrasound. And for those of you who don't know, cancer shows up on your ultrasound, and they call it the white beast, because it shows up white on your ultrasound. So I'm looking at the ultrasound, and I see the white, and I start crying. And the ultrasound technician, she's like, she's like, you can read this? I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh, and she just like turned the monitor. I see it. And she's like, well, I can't, confirm anything because I'm, the doctor's gonna come in here and talk to you. I was like, man. And I was just like I said, I started crying, and I was not in a good place when I saw that. And so when the doctor came in, he was like, yeah, we got 2 kind of large spots in your breast that we really need to kind of do a biopsy. So long story short, I was like, I need some time. I'm the type of person, like, I could pretty much try to handle anything, but I have to plan and prepare myself. And so I was like, and they were like, you can come in on Monday. No, that's too soon. Push it out. And they were like, okay, July 2nd. So I went down there July 2nd, and July the 5th at 11:17 a.m. I got the call, and I got a call from my nurse navigator, and I was like, hello, and she was like, yeah, my name is da da da, and so I mean, she just started introducing herself, talking. I was like, hold on, who are you? Why are you talking like you know me? And she was like, you didn't get a call from about your results? I was like, I'm not waiting on the call. What do you know about my results? She was like, oh my God, I hate this.
Oh, wow.
It was like, Miss Robinson, I hate to tell you that you have cancer. You have breast cancer. And she said they supposed to have called you before I called you.
Right.
And told you, but that they didn't. And I remember I was sitting at my desk at work, and I was like, and she just started talking. I'm sitting up there like, I'm stuck at, you got cancer.
Right.
And she's like, Miss Robinson. I said, huh? I said, hold on. So I get up and I go, we have like little rooms. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny at the time. They had private rooms for lactation. Lactation.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sitting in the lactation room getting information talking about I got breast cancer. I was like, how ironic is this?
How ironic.
But that was the only place I could get some privacy,
right?
At the time, and because I wasn't comprehending what she was saying. Like, I got stuck when she said you got cancer. Yeah. So went in there, and that started that journey. It started the journey of 1,000 doctor visits. It seems like getting poked and prodded, getting called the care team together and going to an oncologist and having every time you go to the doctor, they want blood work.
Mhm.
Can we see your breasts? I'm like, take your shirt off, we see your breasts. I'm like, I'm gonna tell one of my doctors, I said, I'm getting tired of y'all asking to see my breasts. Ain't nobody trying to know no money. And he said, and he started laughing. He said, maybe when I fix it, because right now they a little saggy. But I had a great care team at the time. I still do, and they tried to make it light because I had to go through all this stuff by myself because we was in the midst of COVID.
Right. And before you get into that, a couple of things I want to share. So
Mhm.
it's interesting because we went through it at the same time because I got
Mhm.
diagnosed in 2019, 2020 is when I had the surgery
Okay.
stuff. So this is so I'm like, wow, we were doing the same thing. Same year. But the other thing is, for some of you who heard her talk about pain, so with DCIS, because that's the same thing that I had DCIS as well. Mine did have pain. So they're finding out that some people are experiencing pain and some
Mhm.
don't. It used to be the doctors. Now, some doctors will tell you, like LeTasha said, some doctors will say there's no pain, but they're finding that that is one of the 12 symptoms that some people have is legitimate pain. And I can attest to that because I had pain. The other thing is the about to say dense tissue,
Mhm.
but what you were talking about far as like you said the white beast is what y'all call
Mhm.
the medical field. So I'm glad you brought that up because that's the other reason for many of you out there who hear us tonight. If you have dense breast tissue, you need to
Mhm.
make for sure that you have a ultrasound done, which now
Mhm.
in a lot of states this law has been approved.
Yes.
Some insurance companies still want to kind of give you some runaround, but you can if you have like I think it's category 3 or 4
Yes.
density, heterogeneous, or dense. You need to have an ultrasound with that mammogram
Mhm.
because just like she stated, cancer shows up white. This dense
This
tissue
tissue.
is white and it looks like basically let's explain like fog. You can't see ahead, you can't see through it, but it might
Mhm.
be something on the other side of it. So thank you for sharing all that information because that's how we of course advocate.
Yeah.
And also what you were saying about being by yourself during that, like,
Mhm.
definitely being by yourself, especially at the height, because that was at the height of COVID.
Yes.
How did, as far as like, because I know it, I would assume, how did it feel as far as mentally with you as you heard this diagnosis? You're doing everything, you're getting your care team, like you stated, that's important, getting
Mhm.
people to surround you and stuff. How were you during that time? And like, how did you process that? Like you stated, you had to have time. I think that's good too, that you stated that.
Um, I wasn't at first.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when they called me, like I said, that day is still kind of like a fog for me because after they said those words, only thing I remember is that hey, the next day I got a doctor's appointment.
Wow.
And,
Right.
she had said so much, and I was just like, I can't deal with this right now. And so I remember calling. I called my first lady.
Mm-hmm.
She was doing something. Then I called, some other people and nobody picked up. And so I had to ended up calling my pastor. And he picked up and I said, Bishop, they said it's cancer. And he was like, no, daughter. And I was like, he said, oh, I mean, lost it. And he, immediately kind of got me back together and was like, don't lose faith, don't did it. I mean, he was just like, start speaking faith, and it gave me enough strength to get home that day because I mean I was out of it, and being very transparent when they initially diagnosed me with breast cancer. I went to what I used to do to drown out pain, which is drinking.
Mhm.
And I started, I picked up, I was like, I couldn't go to sleep. So I used that as an excuse at first, like, oh, I just need a little wine to go to sleep. But then it became so much more. And I remember just having a conversation because I was devastated.
Right.
Having had lived a life that was not the easiest,
Right.
growing up in foster care and stuff of that nature. And, kind of just being real, I didn't think I should have to go through this. I was like, why am I going through this?
Mhm.
And so I had a moment where I was just like, God, this ain't right, this ain't fair, this ain't right. And
Mhm.
so one night I was sitting there, I was, crying, and I just remember having just come to Jesus meeting because I I was going to the doctor, and the doctor was like, they give you options of like, you can, get a lumpectomy, da 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 da, or you can get the mastectomy. So I'm sitting up here like, I'm getting the lumpectomy and da 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 da. And so I went to him that Wednesday because that was my appointment with him was on Wednesdays, and I went to him. And he was like, well, what you want to do? And I said, oh, give me a lumpectomy and da da da. He said, lumpectomy. And he's like, okay. He said, what's your clarification? I'm like, I done called the little nurse places. They're going to send somebody in to take me. I got a cab that's going to come pick me up and drop me off. And he was just like, he was taking us and he just closed everything and put everything down. And he said, Miss Robinson, he said, I'm not going to have the surgery with you.
Oh, wow.
He said, you have cancer. And you're trying to fight this like you're fighting a common cold.
Mhm.
He said, I need you to get a care team outside of us that when you want to give up, they're going to be your voice of reasoning to say, Tasha, keep fighting. He said, because you'll get tired in this journey,
Mhm.
but you need that care team that's going to help you. And I'm sitting up here like, you don't know me. I've been doing this by myself for so long. Like, because growing up in foster care, putting a pin in that explain to you the severity of what he said and why it was so important. Because I grew up in foster care, I really didn't have the sense that people would be there for me.
Yeah.
So I had learned how to take care of myself.
Right.
So when he said cancer, I went into the same survival mode.
Mhm.
This is what I gotta do for myself. Not even thinking people would take the time out to take me to the doctor. It was like, no, let me get this cab service, let them drop me off, let them pick me up. Let me get, I don't want to be a burden or issue to someone. So I'm just gonna get these nurses people because I call my insurance gonna pay for it. So they'll come in and help make sure I'm taken care of, fed and all that. So
Mhm.
just putting stuff in place because I didn't think I didn't think nobody would take the time out to help me. I didn't think that no one that I mattered to anyone. So when he said that, I'm like, who you got to give us some money? He said, look, I'm about to retire. I am good. He said, we're gonna reschedule you to come back next week at the same time, and I want to hear a better plan.
You know what? Two things that you've shared that I'm glad you shared. Number one, that you were a Christian woman who had faith and had
Mm-hmm.
faith then, but still human. And
Yep.
you allowed yourself to feel, even though you were starting to drink, you went back to something familiar.
Mm-hmm.
But God's a forgiving God. You had a meeting with God. He helped you out,
Yep.
and then the other part. So I'm glad you said that because some people think, oh, I have faith. I have faith. I have faith. I can't be, I can't have these human emotions, but you will. We are human.
Yes.
The other thing that I'm glad that you shared is the fact that because see, our scars speak is just bigger than cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And you had other scars, and that's why I like for people to tell their stories, because your former scars seem to have done, I might be wrong, seem to have done two things. Number one, help you survive because you have survived through foster care. The other thing, though, that scar did was remind you of what you went through, which did bring back some pain. So it opened up some, and it made you question, like, why am I here now with this? But I thank you for bringing that up. That's significant to the reason why I have people to talk about their before cancer and during cancer, because usually some things in our past or those old scars or even new scars, they can also intertwine with these new scars of having breast cancer. So thank you so much for your transparency.
Yeah, I'm learning it's power in transparency. Because when you are transparent, you can be authentic, and everybody don't have the freedom to be authentic.
Right.
And it also takes the power from whatever tried to hold you down and it tried to put you in the corner. It takes that power from that.
Right.
And gives that power to you. So I'm very big on try to be big on transparency because, like I said, going through cancer, I have said this in other podcasts and other interviews, it saved my life. And some people be like, well, how did cancer save your life?
Right.
Because I had to realize, as much as I thought I was an island, I am not an island. And those words that the doctor said to me that day made me go home, and I had to have a meeting with Jesus. I had to have a because the alcohol. The one thing about it, and some people like, oh, I was an alcoholic, before, got saved, gave, and so I'm sitting up here now doing the same thing. And one thing about alcohol or anything that you self-medicate yourself with, after it wears off, it is still there.
Very much so.
I'm sitting up here like the cancer ain't went nowhere. Still dealing with it, still going to, $4 and $5 appointments a week. So what's the purpose? Like, why am I doing this? And so I remember sitting down and I'm crying out to God because I'm having this moment because I'm realizing that I went back to something that I felt was safe, but it really wasn't safe. And I'm like, God, I need you. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just having a moment like and so I remember I was in my bed and I was crying and I said, God, I said, if you promise to go with me, I will walk through this. I said, but I need the reassurance that you're going to walk through this with me and that you're going to be with me throughout it. And it was at that moment I got a peace that no alcohol, no self-medication could ever give me. I got a peace, and I knew without a shadow of a doubt that God was going to be with me in that moment and throughout this process. And in that, I started opening up, and I called friends, and they was like, yeah, what you need. And I was telling them, I was like, well, I was gonna get a cab. They were like, and I have this one friend, her name Audrey. I see, that's she's a bully. I love her. And she's gonna tell me,
good bully. Then
she's gonna get me straight. She's gonna get me all the way straight.
We gotta have that one person.
Yes.
I got a few of them.
So I got two of them, Audrey, Tamika. They will hurry up and be like, Tasha, really? And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get this cab. And they was like, I just said, and I remember she was right. She was like, so you don't think one of us would be willing to take you to the doctor? Really, this is how we gonna do it, Tasha? but it made me start opening up, and it made me start being vulnerable, because one of the things I think as humans, we try to protect ourselves from going through or going through anything that might resemble something that hurt us. Right. And so we then start putting up walls to try to protect ourselves, or we start making confessions like I'll never do this again or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it's all in a way to protect ourselves from being hurt or any type of resemblance of what that pain looked like. And so because I was in that mode, I didn't realize that how much of a wall I had put up around people and pushed people away that truly cared for me, but they didn't know the depth of my pain because I kept them at arm's length. And so here comes this big disease with this big word that's making me having to tear down all these walls I had built up. And when I tell you, my village is amazing. I could not drive for a month. They had a whole group chat I knew nothing about. Only thing I was responsible was telling them when my doctor's appointments was this week. One person had one day, another person had another day. I mean, I'm sitting up here like, people picking me up, taking me to the doctor. You need just something to eat, da da da. And I'm just, what? And and it didn't resemble the ones that I thought that I wanted it to come from, but it came. And I'm dealing with cancer, I'm really understand that the fact that God said he'll give you what you need and not what you want. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times what we want is not designed to help us. But it's designed because it's a want. But if we actually get what we need, it doesn't matter the package. God still gave it to us. But because it might have came through door C and not through door A that we wanted to come through, we like, God, man, why are you doing this? This. And I remember crying out saying, God, I want this family. I want this, I want that. And I had, in my head how all this is supposed to happen. Right. And it came through another door. Right. Yep. So it was eye-opening. Dealing with cancer, and even though it was something that I ended up losing my left breast and going through didn't have to do any type of chemo or radiation. I do a low dose of tamoxifen, which is a pill, and Venopalax and the Infexor. I take those medications to help lower the risk of cancer coming back, because they really can't determine why cancer manifested in my body. But one thing that I did learn is it's different types of cancer. I did not know that. I was like, cancer is cancer.
It's a lot of them. Yeah. A lot of them.
I was like, no, you got a hormonal fed cancer. Then I learned about aesthetic and non. I was like, oh,
yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a lot of them.
So I had a hormonal fed base cancer. It was by the time they removed my left breast, it had upgraded to the next stage. They did get it before it went into my lymph nodes. They removed 4 lymph nodes and all of them came back clear. But because it had upgraded to that next stage, within a matter of weeks, they really wanted encouraged me to take the tamoxifen to assist with lowering the chances of breast cancer coming back, because they still can't pinpoint, hey, why did this manifest in your body?
Mm-hmm. So you had estrogen, progesterone driven.
Yes. ER/PR positive. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, because everybody, and that's the other thing. Everybody's treatment plan is different.
Yes.
If it's aggressive, sound like maybe you had a grade 3. Do you know what grade you had? Because it seemed like you were stage 0, then went to a stage 1. Is that what happened?
Yes, with stage 1. But it was it was kind of aggressive. But when they removed the breast, they was like, if I probably would have waited a week or 2, like just that much, like that little of a time would have made a bigger difference.
Okay. So did they ever mention your grade, like having a grade 3? Because it sounded like
They did mention a grade, but I don't remember it.
yeah, because yours seemed like it was growing really fast. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so
Yeah.
usually that's a grade 3 if it
Yeah,
grows.
they give you, like after you get into your remission, they give you like this package that they say you'll
Mhm.
never get again, and don't know where that package at, but yeah.
So it had all your information and stuff in it. Yeah, the pack.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
When I tell you, I was like, they should have sent this one. I was a little bit more mentally prepared because, like, when I say it was just that from Juneteenth to September 2nd, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, it's fast and people don't realize that. It's like soon as you find out, they start running. Like you start
Yes,
running. You're really trying to save your life. And
yes,
then we have changes like you did, like from a stage 0 to a stage 1. And that means your treatment plan changed usually.
mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of factors, and sometimes people don't
Yes,
understand, like they see us but they haven't dealt with it. And it's not to say we don't appreciate them, but it's like it's a lot of mental stress and strain that can come with this diagnosis.
yes.
A lot.
And it really can take you out. It can really. I understand the severity of why he made me go and get this support group because it was no way I could have honestly dealt with this without the support people that I have. I have people that, when I go to the doctor, okay, what did the doctor say? Like,
Right.
I have to live in a place of transparency with them. So they know, A, they know how to encourage me. B, they know how to pray. C, if in the event, because dealing with this, we can't take pain as just pain.
Not no more.
Time something happened, you on the phone with that oncologist, you on the phone with that PCP, because pain, it can be a sign that it came back or manifested in someplace else. You have your, bone cancer, then you got, don't let the pain get into the other breast.
Yeah, you're
So
thinking all types of stuff.
yes, and so then that one every year having to go back and get that mammogram. If you didn't, for me, I lost my left breast, but I still had to go get a mammogram on the
On your
right
right
breast.
breast. Yeah.
And so having to go through that because it did upgrade. I didn't have to do chemo and radiation, but it was no longer an option. Oh, you could do tamoxifen. You may you got to now because it
Right.
did upgrade. So it's like you said, dealing with cancer is constantly changing. Like what was good on day 1, on day 10 may not be the same thing.
Right.
And so with cancer is so many unknown venues and different avenues. It's like, do I go to the left or to the right? And then you can be going to the left real hard and then all of a sudden have to make a hard right turn because something happened. Blood
Yeah.
work came back wrong or something, didn't match up. So I'm sitting up here like going into this
Yeah.
oncology, you know, and then dealing with when you're fighting, in the army, you have your battle buddies.
Yeah.
In here we have our boobers. We have our boobers. We have boobers for life, and all this, and you sitting up there, and you're battling with your battle buddy,
Yeah.
and you look, your battle buddy ain't there no more.
Right. And
And
speaking of Here for the Girls, 'cause I know that's where you're leaning towards next. How did you even find the organization?
well, that's what I'm saying. It's a reason why I'm saying this.
Okay.
Um, so when I was dealing with that, one thing I had to do is I have my set of friends that don't deal with breast cancer.
Okay.
But I needed somebody to assist me with what I was dealing with my diagnosis. Because sometimes you don't want pity. You just
Right.
need to vent.
Mm-hmm.
And so I on Facebook going through groups.
Mm.
And I joined a BCIS group, support group, as well as a breast cancer group. And so I'm sitting up there, and this profile for Christina Minor came through. on the DCIS group. And I'm sitting up here and you doing your testimony. And I was like, okay,
Oh,
she seemed
wow.
cool. So I'm gonna send her a friend request. So I sent her a friend request. And after I sent her a friend request, she accepted it. I was like, okay, cool.
Did not
And
know this was your
and
story.
so
Wow.
she was also, she put out there, I am here for the girls ambassador and da da da. And I'm sitting here like, this is so cool. And I was like, here for the girl. I'm sitting and I'm looking in, I stay in the great state of South Carolina. And so I'm
Right.
looking in South Carolina, like, do we have something like here for the girl?
Mhm.
We did not. And so
Right.
I was like, okay. So I'm like, I'm just gonna put my name in the hat. And so you put it out there that they were looking for 2024 ambassadors.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I'm just gonna put it, so I'm filling it out and I filled it out. And I got the call that I was chosen to be Miss July for the 2024 calendar year.
I had no clue until this moment right here that you see me on somewhere. I had no clue. Isn't that
Yes.
something? God is so
Yeah,
good.
through one
It's
of the
so interesting how
DCIS support groups.
wow. Wow. Had no clue. Well, you got me on your own. This whole platform, I'm sitting here like, what? Like how? Because I often wondered, like, how did she find? Because she's in South Carolina, and we're because for anyone who don't know, like we're branching out to other states now, like to a lot more states. South Carolina being one, I think Florida, Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
Rhode Island. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other states now. But I was wondering within your city, I was like, how did she really get? Because a lot is based out of Virginia, so
Mm-hmm.
it's just now really starting within the last few years, starting to really branch out to other states. So
Yes.
isn't that something? Wow,
Yeah. I
that is.
think I was their first out of towner.
I believe so because it hasn't been that long ago. It really hasn't.
Yeah, I think I was their first out of towner. But when I
Wow.
say here for the girl, they were so supportive. When I called them,
Mhm.
they immediately let me talk to a social worker. They put me in contact. I remember wanting a calendar, and dealing with breast cancer, going to doctor's appointments. I can't talk about nobody else, but my finances say ching ching. Ching 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 ching.
Yep.
And so you pay out a lot. And I remember I was
Right.
like, I really want a calendar. And I remember I sent an email. I said, I really like a calendar. Can't really afford to do a donation. Can you please send me a calendar? And it was like, what's your address?
Yep.
And
And
I was like, they're sending me a calendar. So I found Here for the Girls in 2020. I have been a long, back in the back supporter. I have sent other people to Here for the Girls from my state to get some additional support.
oh,
Because
good.
it is such a great organization that assists us in a time where it's a lot of unknowns. But it's a strong network to be able to bring awareness. And one of the things that I love about Here for the Girls, I wasn't in their state. They could
Right.
have easily have well, let's try to find some support in your own state. But they did not. And I'm so grateful that they didn't, and they allowed me, because those stories in those calendars encouraged me. It when days was dark, this year, the beginning of the year, they thought they found cancer in the right breast.
Mm.
I did, I have my support group, but I talked to my calendar girl. So I was like,
Mhm.
hey, they're saying that they think they find cancer in the right breast, and they, of course, they're encouraging me. And so not early this year, last year, they thought
Mhm.
they found it in the right breast, and I had to go through the same things. And I remember I was like, I'm so tired. I am
Yeah.
so tired. I'm like, I'm tired of this. Da, da, da. And I remember, calling my pastor again, and he had to get me straight. And, but this time my response was different. I had my moment, but I didn't live there. And I think that is so important. Like, as a dealing with anything in life, have your moment. I think we, especially those that believe, oh, you're that shows you don't have faith in God and da da da. And I'll be like, child, go somewhere and sit down and shut all the way up.
Right.
That don't mean that I'm having less faith in God. It means I'm human. It
Right.
means that God gave us this emotions for a reason. So allow me to be in my moment.
Yep.
But by trying not to handle the moment, sometimes will lead you to detrimental situation because you try to avoid the moment.
Right. Right.
And oh, I'm so strong. I don't need anybody. Don't need child. Yes, you do. You need all the help. Not
Yep.
so you need all the help. Stop trying to act like you so strong and you didn't need that. And that's what cancer did. It tore all my walls down. And they said, you know what? It's okay to have a moment. Just don't live there.
Right.
Have your moment. Feel how you feel. But when I had my meeting and I said, okay, God, I just need to know that you're gonna rock with me, come with me. He was like, I got you. Yep. And so when I got that type of peace, then that surpassed everything else. Mm-hmm. But I had to go through my moment. I had to feel how I feel. And if anybody's listening right now, that would be the biggest thing I would tell people. Stop identifying your moment as saying that shows that you don't have faith in God.
Right.
Or that you did something because, Job friends, I always, you don't need no friends like Job. Because they was, because and being honest, when people go through that, first thing comes a lot of people in their head, what they did. Right. And they try to, because it's hard to just say, well, they didn't do nothing. No, they had to do something. And a lot of people don't want to identify, but some of your friends are Job friends. They trying to justify why you're going through what you're going through.
Yep.
What you did something to God, you displeased God, and it's like, this just your body. Cancer cells are in everybody's body. It's just the fact that, hey, some of them manifest in a greater dose.
Yeah, they just go rogue sometimes.
Yeah.
they just lose their mind.
Like, hey, we had a party.
And sometimes people I've interviewed a lot of women who were complete bill of health. It's a complete poster board bill of health, and they had some of the most aggressive cancer. So you shouldn't beat yourself up. And like you said, there are people who will come along the way and try to, what did you do wrong? Or you shouldn't do that, or you shouldn't do this, or you don't have enough faith. And you're getting into something that I'm going to do in a couple of weeks. So thank you for the prelude you don't even know about. But yeah, so it's, all of what you said, and you just talking about like not dwelling in that place, not dwelling in the place of depression or the place. And sometimes it's harder for some of us to get out of that, or dwelling in the place of sadness or anger, because sometimes people get angry and rageful because of what happened. There's so many different emotions that can come with it.
And I went through them all. I was angry. I was mad. Like I said, I felt a sense of entitlement that, hey, why I done had, not the best childhood. Come on here, G. Really, God, this how we gonna do it? And he's like, you talk to God like that? I'm like, yeah, God is my daddy. Like, I'm having an issue. That look, man, I am this. I had my moments. And I'm so thankful, though, that I go to a church that tells us to have an authentic relationship with God.
Right.
And don't base your relationship on what somebody else's relationship looks like. Like, how's that relationship with you? And I have a love for this man. I love him. And he is my all in all. But I just have real conversation. People like, oh, like, how do you pray? I'm like, Jesus, how you doing? You doing good? All right. So, man, let me tell you what happened. And they was like, Tasha. I said, what?
Oh, that's true. Like, you have to have those real
moments
with.
Yeah. Like, that's in my private time. But Our Father, which art in heaven, Lord God, I thank you and I praise you. I can pray like that too. But if me and him just having a conversation, because I tell people prayer is a conversation.
It is.
And so I'm not, man, God, man, you heard the doctor today, man. And and people like they be like, I cannot. I said, you know what? That's me. I said, this is me and my relationship. Right. I'm good with me and my relationship with God because it is authentic. I love him. He loves me. I say, I feel the closest to him that I have ever felt. And I've been in church for at my current church for over 20 years, but I've been in church for years. And I can honestly say that I feel like I'm just now really benefiting from an authentic relationship with God, from dealing with cancer. Because guess what? It ain't no type of it ain't no all up. I'm like, because God knows. He knows everything.
Yeah.
So, I was like, Jesus, thou art the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, and I love you, God. That wasn't doing nothing for me. And I was like, man, God, guess what? Man, look at him. You see what happened today? Like, I need you to handle that. Cause that don't make no sense. And it works for me. And it's so real for me. And when I finish my conversation with him, it's such a peace. Yeah. And I'm like, get your peace. Cause I was telling somebody the other day, I said the devil out here handing out hell in handbaskets. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you can get a little bit of hell. Stuff was happening left and right. And so many people were telling me so much stuff that was going on with them. People dying, people getting shot. Went to one of my local towns in my area. They had a homecoming game and they went to party and people getting shot. Stuff is happening. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, and I'm like, go have a talk with God. Yeah. And real be authentic. Real talk. Don't put him on L.
I think we all have different moments with him. Like you have moments of worship where you're more, you don't even say much. Sometimes you just throwing up your hands and you're worshiping him. You have moments of praise, or you might be screaming, you might be doing whatever. Then you have moments where you may pray those prayers that are like, which may come after worship, where it's like, Lord, thou art, like you said. And you have those moments like I drive in the car every day. Yes. I'm like, Lord, what am I doing going to work today? And it's raining. I'm ready to go home and go to sleep. So like you have, because he's your father, like you stated, he's your father. So he knows you. He already know what you're thinking. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes that's missing, like you stated, like that authentic relationship with him is because we get scared that we can't come to him like that. But he already knows you. He created you. So find comfort in knowing that and come to him exposed. Yes. You're already exposed, whether you know it or not.
He already knows. I said he know about all my bad fats. So I just be like, this well, go ahead and tell him. Cause ain't no need, I got on a shirt, it hides the bad fat from everybody else. But he know about them rolls back there. So, he might well go ahead and just be authentic and just lay it out. Just let him know.
That is so true. So you have taken us, you've taken us all through the treatment and everything. So after breast cancer, or now, I don't never really say after, because it's more like now, because it's something that's always existing with the doctor's appointments and stuff. But what are you doing now? And at this point, you've shared so much, but let us know, like, what are you doing? I know I've seen your titles, which you didn't mention, but you better mention, because who's gonna tell you to mention. But like, and I know you're not one to get wrapped up in the titles, because you are who you are, and you don't, and I feel you on that. But at the same time, that's to be honored, and to the work that God is doing in your life. But what are you doing? Like, what are you doing now? I know you're advocating, because I've seen
I am definitely, yes.
Yeah, I've seen you doing everything.
Definitely an advocate, always promoting self-care. I really, my goal is to help women understand, stop putting ourselves last. A
Mm,
lot of times, I never forget, I had someone to come to me,
mhm,
and their mother passed
mm,
from breast cancer. And they said, Tasha, why God say you and not my mama?
mm.
And I was sitting there like, you couldn't ask me something simpler
That's
in my head, in my head.
mhm.
But I was sitting there saying, God, give me the, because this child was hurting.
Yeah,
And I wanted, I love to laugh and joke, but I never try to miss the opportunity to minister.
right.
Um, and um, and I remember I was like, God, give me the words. And and I said, you know what? I said, if it wasn't for my friend, I said, we may not be having this conversation.
Mhm,
I said, in all honesty, I said, you remember when your mom would complain about headaches and this, that, and the other, and we started going through this? And they was like, yeah. I said, your mama knew then something was wrong,
mhm,
but did not want to go to the doctor because it was always something that needed to be done. And I said, if it wasn't for my friend, I might not be having this conversation because in my head it was something else that needed to be done.
mm,
But it was somebody else that allowed me to see the severity of what was really going on with my body and made me not put a pause in something that I needed to push play on.
right.
And so one of my biggest advocacy is women stop putting pauses on things that you know is going on with your body.
Right.
Because your kids, this child just turned 21, and they're in their youngest phase of their life, adulthood, and they lost their head to their mom. And I'm sitting up here, feeling for this baby, but also like going through my head everything that they mom did not do. And it wasn't until I had got diagnosed that she started paying attention and went to the doctor. And
Mm,
unfortunately, hers was already at stage 4
mm,
and had spread in her lymph nodes. So listen to your body. Always going to be an advocate. Listen to your body. Listen to your body. Stop putting off those constant headache and stuff like that. Pain comes to let you know it is something going on there that you need to pay attention to. So please pay attention to it. So with that, yes, I'm an advocate. I am a writer. I write plays. I write books. I have a TV show on Tubi called Crack Foundation that I assisted with writing. I also working on a new stage play that will be done next year. My goal is to be able to do um, a couple shows with this where the money would a portion of money will be donated to Here for the Girls, to
okay.
help with the continued expansion of the project. I am a minister. I have a doctorate in Christian counseling. Um, just because I feel like it's not a lot of counselors that has a heart to get to the root
Mhm,
of what you're going through. And a lot of counselors deals with the limbs of the tree. But
mm,
until you dig up that root, that tree gonna always be there.
absolutely.
So, with Christian counseling, I feel like when I was, had the opportunity to go back to school, that really appealed to me. And so I have a doctorate in Christian counseling. I am also a nerd at heart. I have a BA in marketing from Benedict College, a MBA from Strayer University, and I was on the path of getting my DBA from Walden University, but I put a pause in it to do my doctorate in Christian counseling. So education is very key to me. I'm also just doing whatever I can in my community. I'm big. Used to be really big in the community, going out to different things, being a supporter. Of course, cancer and COVID put a little damper on stuff. So kind of more of a homebody now than anything. Just because even though we're in remission, I gotta tell people remission is just a step. It's still so much stuff that goes in with staying in remission, making sure you eat right, going and making sure your numbers right. They, still have a lot of doctor's appointments. They was finding out some strange reason my body just didn't like taking on iron, so I done had to do a couple iron infusion. Having to I just had very low energy, and I think most of the cancer patients, but mine was just very low, to the point where I would sleep all night, get up, go to work, sometimes falling asleep at work, having to constantly do energy drinks just to stay woke, and then we get off and sleep until like 11, 12 o'clock at night.
Oh, wow.
After drinking 1 or 2 or 3 energy drinks.
Wow.
So they found out that something was going on with my pituitary gland that was not functioning. So like I said, with cancer, unfortunately, because of the severity of it, we can't take for granted low energy. We can't take for granted, oh, my eyesight, just acting funny. We just can't take that stuff for granted. So constantly going to the doctors, it seemed like I think for the biggest change in my life came on December the 8th of the same year of breast cancer, where I had, made a decision where I was like, but after, I get my fake booby, I'm gonna put myself back in the dating game. And this chocolate drop of a man came into my inbox, and I was like, why he keep bothering me? And I heard God say it's a genuine love there. I was like, I know you lying, God, really? Like, and this is how I really talk to God. And so he was like, yeah, it's a genuine love there. And needless to say, that started a love. I got married last year in May 28th.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So we just celebrated our 1 year. We celebrated our actually in front of everyone in December of last year. So we had a Christmas wedding. So that was amazing. But that's been the biggest change.
Beautiful. Those pictures are beautiful.
He put a smile on my face, a little chocolate drops. And but that's been the biggest change. It's just, every day just getting up and saying, okay, we got purpose. And what do we want to do that purpose? And I got these shirts made, and this shirt says, you can have Jesus and a therapist too.
That's right. Absolutely.
It says, you have Jesus and a counselor. Do check on your mental health. Dealing with any type, I think for me, is acknowledging the fact that I have PTSD. PTSD a lot of times was associated only with Army, but they found out, hey, once a person has gotten diagnosed with a life-changing or altering disease, that causes some trauma too. And so, dealing with PTSD and knowing how that looks like, knowing when you have to have a moment, knowing when the pull forward and also pull back. I love my friends, but I a lot of times I don't tell them everything that goes to the doctor. I might tell them like a week or two later, because I need to process. just learning how it is for me. I need to process it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so once I get it done this way, then I can share it with you because I want to share it without the emotions.
Right.
Because I can only talk for me. I hate when people look at you and it's sometimes like, man, they something else with Kelsey.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. I get that look often. Like, here we
and
go again. And I'm
yeah,
like, so
and
now I'm like you. Like, I might share with my Here for the Girls, amongst
yeah,
us, but because we get it, but sometimes it's like, oh God, I don't want to tell them what happened to the doctor today because
yeah.
I'll be like, oh, here she go again.
And you think that, but like my friend Audrey said,
But
if
not
we love
everybody.
you,
Yeah.
we want to know anyway. How about that? I'm
Yeah.
like,
Not right. Not everybody feels that way, but
yeah.
sometimes you
But
can
in
discern
your
with some
head,
people.
and I
Mhm.
think it's also just, you know, not wanting to go through it again.
And then you don't, one thing that I found, I don't know if you found this either, but and also can you show them your calendar, your photo? Chelsea,
I do.
we're not ignoring your
This
slating.
my girl, this Chelsea.
Chelsea is another one of us. Um, but yeah, so this is Here for the Girls. Oh, Patty, she's been on the show. Where are you,
Mm-hmm.
Tabitha? You are Jessica. There she is. There's hers. And guys, we still have calendars if you want to.
Yes.
And it has her story in it. And she was what, July, right? Yep, Miss
Yes, Miss
July.
July.
Yep. And it goes to a great cause. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you felt this before or not, but I also felt like I even to this day, like if I go to the doctor and they're like, okay, we need to watch this, or we need to watch this mole, or we need to watch
Yes.
whatever the case is, I was like, okay, let me keep it outside of my, like people who've had cancers, like let me keep it maybe to myself because I feel sometimes that we are in such a roller coaster of emotion. I don't want
Yes.
to put no one else on that roller coaster with me. However, that's not completely right to do because that's their choice to get on our roller coaster.
And I had
But
to.
yeah,
I think my pastor helped me with that. He said, "Well, Tasha, how we supposed to pray if you don't tell us?"
that's the other thing.
I
Right.
was like, you know what, Pastor? I was like, Bishop. God, I call my pastor Bishop. I'm like, well, Bishop, shoot, I don't be knowing what to say. Sometimes I get tired of going to the doctor, and but I have like when you have people that's genuinely there,
Mhm.
and for me, the genuineness, like I had to understand it
Right.
from a place that wasn't necessarily cultivated. It was very scary to allow yourself that vulnerability in front of other people that could potentially hurt you.
Right.
And you, like I said, you go into that protection mode. But one of the greatest things that I have found, even with my husband, is that a place that I can be vulnerable with and allow myself to be vulnerable. And if they hurt me, it's not intentionally,
Right.
but it's just something that happens in life, and allow yourself to go through that process. So that has allowed me to not, even though I want to sometimes, but I was lying when I said I ain't afraid of the White House. I was lying because my first lady don't play. She would pray, but she'd be like, Tasha, what's going on here? And I was
Right.
like, well, Mother White, oh.
Right. Then you have to come
So
clean.
yeah, so she just asked it to the point where you just it just comes out, but I am so thankful for just the place that I'm in healing.
Right.
That I feel like I'm in a place that I feel like I'm healed in a lot of areas that I never thought I would experience healing in, or that I thought I had experienced it. But I'm like, yeah, you was lying to yourself. You just sweeping it up on the carpet, because you
Right.
still being standoffish and not allowing people in.
Yeah. And something that you were saying earlier about like when we have those tough questions with people, because as you know, we've had some of our boobers to pass.
Yeah.
And I like to say transition because I believe people go to a,
Mm-hmm.
prayerfully heaven or wherever everybody got different beliefs. But my
Yes.
point is sometimes when those tough questions come, we have no answer. And it's okay. I want people to understand, like, it's okay not to have. I think
Yes.
LeTasha, definitely, people, we need to be concerned about our well-being. But then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we just do not have the answers, and we won't have them until one day we see God potentially.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
it's okay not to have the answers. I thank you for bringing that up, because it's okay, and we don't know why some people survive and we don't. But with that PTSD, we also have that sense of outside of that, we also have survivors guilt sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
remorse.
Yes.
And so that's a whole nother thing. But thank you for sharing that, because yeah, sometimes people will present us with those tough questions like, why didn't you, or why did this happen? And we don't necessarily have an answer. In most cases, we do not have an answer for some of those
Yes.
questions. So you had a song, because we're gonna get, first of all, before we get into the song and your word that you want to leave with everyone, um, is there anything coming up or anywhere where people can find you on social media? Because you do have people following you. So, and I will have everything tagged. I have your IG and your Facebook, but you want to share with people where they can find you on social
Yes, you
media?
can
You
find
have
me on
anything coming up?
Facebook. You can find me on Facebook at LeTasha S. Coleman,
Mhm.
as well on Instagram and TikTok. Um, and all of them, LS Robinson or LS Robs.
Oh,
Next, I can also be found on my author page on Facebook, on Amazon, up on the LeTasha S. Robinson or Ella Robs. And the next thing that's coming up for me is I will be doing an audition for my stage play coming up. If love is love ever really enough? It does have it's a new spin on some things, and also going into my new element of being married. So I'm gonna bring a couple aspects into this play. So I'm excited about doing this play. I do just released a new book called Smoldering Embers Still Burn, and it is a later in life love story, kind of loosely based on my relationship with my little chocolate drop, because we actually knew each other almost 20 years ahead
oh,
of
wow.
before we actually were talking, but we didn't talk. And me and him, when we got together this time, he said something and it kind of inspired this book, and that was, I wasn't man enough to be the man who you needed me to be then, but I am now.
Oh,
And he was like, so this it. This it, Ella. Okay. But so I just released that. You can find that on Amazon. I also have a website that's coming up where you can order it. So those are the things that's coming up for me.
I love it. So you had a
Oh yeah.
song.
Oh, one more
Oh,
thing.
go ahead. Go ahead.
1028.
Oh, yeah.
1028. That is my fourth year in remission. So I have, this is my little calendar, my little
Yay.
ball. So that's the biggest thing that's coming up, as well as my birthday.
Okay. What your birthday? What month is your birthday?
I'll tell you, 28 is really big in my life. So October 28 is my remission date. December the 28th is my birthday.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I had that conversation with the doctor on July the 28th.
Dang. Everything's 28. Wow.
Yeah.
So you had a song on your reel,
Yes.
and it was by Mary J. Blige, called Doubt, right?
Yes.
So can you explain to everyone briefly about what's the significance of this song to you? Because it was beautiful. I hadn't heard that song before. And I've listened to her stuff.
Yeah, I'm Mary J. Blige, girl, like,
Okay.
down with the what's the 411? What's the
Yeah,
oh sorry.
yeah, I go
I'm
all the way
up
back
on that.
that far too.
But Doubt, with Mary J. Blige, that song was so inspiring to me because she said, we made it to the end. and she had to pay the cost. And a lot of times in life, we don't realize the cost that we have paid in life,
Right.
that we of stuff that we have went through. We go through stuff, but not honestly realizing that it always leads up that you survived it. But a lot of times, because we went through it, it's a level of shame there. It's a level of insecurity that comes up with that because we went through it. And when I hear the song, it reminds me that stop focus on the shame, stop focus on what you went through, and focus on the fact that, hey, you paid the cost and you're still here. You survived it. So you can get caught up either on what you went through, or you can get caught up on the fact that you survived it. And so that song Doubt, for me, it really exemplifies everything from being left at DSS office at 18 months and being placed in the foster care system, the mental, physical, and sexual abuse that I went through. But it also signifies the simple fact that I don't have to doubt no more. I don't have to doubt in my ability to be able to believe in myself, to push forward in myself, to just go after the things that is within me. But because I'm the only one that can hold me back, it's me.
Yep.
And so that this song right here speaks so much to me and my soul, because it said I made it to the end. I didn't think I was going to, it was times in my life that I didn't think I was going to make it. It was times in my life where I didn't think I deserved to make it, that I didn't matter to anybody. But when I realized those was all tricks of the enemy, it gave me my power. And even going through cancer, it gave me power. Because now it gives me the ability to share with somebody else, hey, I don't care what you're going through. The fact is, like, you're going to go through this. Keep your faith up. Like, what do I need to do? How can I pray for you? How can I encourage you? Because I want you to see yourself at the end too.
That's beautiful. Girl, you about to make me cry. Okay. So what is your one word that you can leave with everyone and share with us why you chose that word?
Resilience. I don't even have to think about it. I don't take that back. Relentless.
Oh, that's a good one.
Be relentless after the pursuit of things that is on your heart to do. Be relentless of being an advocate for yourself. Be relentless after your dreams and your passion. And be relentless just to be who you want to be in your most authentic self as you can be as possible.
Thank you. Well, before we end, I have to share with you now. So the whole entire time, now you've caught me off guard with some things you did say, but because I had no clue. But at the end of the day, I love your personality. You are hilarious. I'm gonna have to come to South Carolina because you're hilarious. But throughout it all, what I kept seeing was an eagle. And all I can say to you is that you are soaring, but continue to soar and make for sure that as you soar, that you will know that you're not just soaring, but you're going from glory to glory. And you're going from different dimensions up to him. So just hold on to that and hold on to know that, yeah, you're here, you're soaring, you're doing these things. God got you doing all these things, but know that there's other levels, other dimensions that he's trying to take. But make for sure that you stay in position far as with what you need to do far as keeping your full armor on. And the armor which fits you, not the armor that other people try to give you. And that's why David was so powerful in what he did, because he was like, nah, that's too big for me. I just need my sling and my stones, because you have the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, like he had the 3 stones. So with that, you can continue to soar. So I encourage you, my sister, to continue to soar, continue to go on these different heights. I know for a fact, I believe in my heart, you're going to remain humble. But I also know that, the enemy will try to come, but remember that you'll take that enemy and fly him right on up and choke him out, because he can breathe in higher heights. So continue to even worship higher. and the doors will continue to open.
I received that.
Yep. Thank you so much for coming on. And for everyone who's watching, this is another episode of Our Scars Speak. Thank you for hanging in there with me. I did take a little hiatus. I was trying to figure out some technology. Still haven't figured it out, but guess what? We're gonna keep on going. So
Yes.
know that that we are back, and remember that our mental and our physical scars do speak a story, one
Yes.
in which we are to share with other people to help heal the wounds of them. So when you're supposed to share a story, I don't know, but I encourage you to do so, because there's somebody out there who may have similar scars, who may have the same exact scars, or who may not have any, but they're coming, and they're going to need someone to help them. So remember, our scars do speak, and they speak to the wounds of another to help heal. So you all have a blessed night. Thank you for coming on, and talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.